Um,
We're just
are
waiting
you
on
gonna give us
Resurgence here
all?
to ready up
Are you gonna give us all that sweet intel on the
on
draft here coming
RFS.
from RFS? No, no.
Ooh,
Okay, you're
I
gonna.
can give a little bit here. The map bans have started though, so we'll just chat a little bit while they do that. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like RFS definitely want to play the meta as it is right now to a point. Definitely favoring some more of the ranged assassin style, specialist, split push style of play. Not really, a lot of these teams haven't really been favoring playing Tirana just because she's so consistently banned,
Yeah.
which is again the same case in terms of RFS, just not a hero that's ever been prioritized, never even been considered. So now that maybe things might be loosening up on her, we'll see. I'm curious to see if they're actually going to take her should she become available. I have no idea, so that'll be fun. And overall, considering what we've seen coming out from those last drafts, I feel like Resurgence definitely has a good head on their shoulders. Um, Little known fact: Skull Kid actually played on RFS Gaming and is now on Resurgence. So a little bit of a rivalry here. I'm curious to see how that goes. Definitely gonna hype that up a little bit. Everyone's still good friends, but an ex-player, an ex-shot caller actually for RFS. So that's gonna be interesting.
And maps being left is still Towers of Doom on the list. If this is the accurate pick ban, so
What? We're down
Infernal
to Shrines and
Shrines or
Towers.
Tower
What
Doom.
is,
This is
what is,
awesome. So
what's
we're down
happened?
to the fun. There it
Okay.
is. Infernal Shrines. I was getting so hyped. Either way, I'm glad. I like to see an Infernal Shrines. I'm really excited for this. So,
Ethics
uh,
almost gave me a heart attack there. Come on, guys. No, uh, no,
all
it's
right.
definitely. I mean, Towers of Doom, one of those maps that again, I'm waiting for a team to pull it out and crush somebody. I'm waiting for them to like set the style of play on that map.
Kel'Thas being the opening band, this has been a pattern we've seen all night so far. Kel'Thas, Tyrande, Zagara, Jaina Murden has been the pattern for the first pick band phase of every team so far. I would like to see it broken up a little bit here, but who knows? Honestly, apparently teams are fearing they're accepting, I guess, the Toronto nurse is not that big enough to still be such a threat that they need to ban her from the second pick phase every game. Let's see. Resurgence is taking a little bit more time on this ban. I think after seeing Kilthos ban consistently enough that it wouldn't be something that they really feel like they're too worried about. But
Yeah, we'll see. Resurgence is definitely taking their time, and it's
there it
a
is.
C band. They want some power picks here. They're gonna say, does RFS want Tyrande? And I don't know. I don't know in the situation. It's gonna be interesting to see. How highly do they value her? And they don't. There's the Murden first pick coming out from RFS Gaming. What do you think about that?
I like it, honestly. I personally like the fact that Resurgence said straight up that we don't care about Toronto, and I like even more that RFS said, okay, we're going to take the Murden. We don't care about her either. I am interested to see if the Murden was necessarily the right pick. That does leave Jaina up for Resurgence here. I very much think that that's going to be something they pick, and if they are interested in Toronto, this is going to be the time they do it. He still synergizes well with Toronto. I don't think she's out of the mid. There it is, and I think it'll be a Jaina to follow up with her. Both of those work very well with the early game, allowing them to get a lot of kills, and they're both actually deny picks for RFS. It takes away really good synergy with the Murden as well.
I'm gonna guess here was the fact that they absolutely did not want. If they weren't gonna pick Tyrande, they didn't want Resurgence to have Tyrande Murden.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I'd say it was as much a deny pick as anything else there. Um, Definitely an interesting choice. I'm really curious to see what RFS is going to do to follow up with this, and what this next pick here coming out from Resurgence would be. I'm with you. I think it's probably going to be a Jaina. That burst coming
Oh,
out from Toronto Jaina is just so strong.
I'm afraid it's going to be a Zag, but I want it to be a Jaina for sure.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot
I
of
haven't.
teams prioritize that Zagara for her laning and everything else she provides for a team fight, but I think Jaina synergizes way better with Tyrande to the point where it's a must go to. There it is.
There it is. Yep, no surprise there, I don't think. I'm really curious to see what the follow up from this is going to be. I think there's a bunch of different ways they could go with this. RFS does have there's a few assassins that they play particularly well. So I'm curious to see if they're going to, there's one of them, prioritize that right now. There's both of them.
Okay.
So, two going with definitely some comfort picks here coming out from them. We're going to see how they play that. Definitely, if Resurgence can get the picks here, RFS is going to be in trouble.
I actually think that there's a massive problem with drafting both Falstad and Raynor both at that time. It leads them to having an absolutely god tier composition when it comes to melee assassins to synergize with the Jaina and Tyrande. And I think it'll really kind of set their early game behind. They pick two late game heroes while having Murden, which is a decent late game hero or decent hero across the board. But then Falstad and Raynor both sit back and kind of auto attack base the medic to remove the sit back and heal up composition. I really like that from them because both Raynor and Falstad kind of like pull that play style. So now that they've taken away the hyper aggression and they have the ability to pick up a melee assassin here, so I think you'll see Resurgence going for.
I would expect RFS to ban the Thrall here.
And I think they'll respond with Sonya. If they do ban the Thrall, I don't see any reason not to take Sonya in this type of situation. I think Sonya is one of probably the more underestimated heroes when it comes to this amateur tournament. It seems like everybody's go-to is very much Thrall, and that Sonya is kind of just like, if she's open. But Jaina, Sonya, and Tyrande all on the same team means ouch very much in the early game. And like anybody's a kill target at that point with that composition. So the Thrall ban.
Yeah, I know that RFS doesn't particularly value the Sonya as much, just in terms of what's been seen in scrims. I do think, though, that Resurgence right now, that medic ban was absolutely spot on. That's definitely going to be a big impediment here to RFS. And I think Resurgence, they can pick Uther or anyone here, melee assassin, and they'd be in a very good spot. The way they're playing this draft so far, I think, is absolutely spot on. I'm really liking the start. Resurgence can go anywhere with this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I personally think if they're going to go double healer, it's going to be Uther. Okay, it's going to be Diablo. All right. With the Diablo, I still would like to see the Sonya. They're going to go Diablo, Tyrande. I don't know if I feel like they needed to pick the Diablo there. I personally feel like it's kind of out of place. Diablo does work really well, though. Diablo Tyrande overall isn't as impactful, in my opinion, by far from like the Murden Tyrande, but with ETC banned and Murden picked up, it makes sense that they would go to that. Uther is going to be picked up here. I think that's a call-out that they expect RFS to not be able to play Sonya. It's very much relying on that because I think that Sonya was almost a must-have pickup in that type of situation for Resurgence.
Yeah, no, Resurgence is saying, if you don't pick Sonya, we will here. And that would be a very good draft coming in for them if they were to get that. I'm not quite sure what RFS is going to do coming out of this. They still have to pick up a healer. And are they possibly going to go double tank? We'll see going into this. Resurgence draft right now is absolutely terrifying. There's the Malfurion. Okay, so that's just a little more. And Tassadar. So this is actually a combo that RFS likes to run a decent amount. It's benefited a little bit now from the Malfurion changes. So curious to see how they're going to play that. I would expect the Sonya to come in here. What else are you expecting from Diablo? I'm just curious as an aside.
In terms of ultimate?
Yeah.
I think they have to go with APOC.
Yeah.
At first, those last two picks coming out from RFS pretty much said that APOC is the stronger ult in this situation, mainly because there's no way you're really going to kill anything with Lightning Breath, and Tranquility is going to come out. You're like, well, I'll just kill Malfurion, and then you goes, nope, Chuck Tessa, he's going to Ice Block. Tassadar can E out, he's going to have shields on everybody. You're literally just going to be standing still asking to be killed at that point. So I think very much they're going to be worried about getting that pick. Plus, it works well with their comp. One APOC combo that hits even just one single target, Malfurion is gonna have to dodge the APOC, then also make sure that he gets a cleanse and heal on the target, which he's gonna be facing Tyrande's Mark, Tyrande's stun, Sonya's stun, plus her W, and Jaina's whole Blizzard. That is gonna be one dead hero as long as APOC forces them to split. And so I very much feel like they overall have won the draft in this type of situation. I am in favor of Resurgence overall, just purely off draft. I think RFS, even if they get an advantage, they're going to have a really hard time choosing a fight. Unless they get absolutely god-tier force walls, if that's what they're looking to do here. I think that is the one thing that might give them a chance is a force wall Gust style play. If they get just crucial zoning is like what they need to win these team fights. And Sonya's play is going to be really important from the Resurgence here, as we've seen on the first game. If Sonya overextends a little bit too much versus the style composition, her team is definitely going to suffer for it.
Yeah, I think watch for Sonya to go in with the D shield and for the Gust to come out to force the rest of the team back, similar to how we saw in that first game. Overall, though, I agree. I like Resurgence's draft a lot here. I feel like if they catch anyone, that person is dead.
Yeah.
pretty much no matter what. Even with the boost to the Malfurion ceiling and the shields, someone gets caught, they die. So it's going to be interesting to see if Resurgence can get those picks. In terms of shrine fights, who do you? I feel like RFS probably has a bit of an advantage here, just in terms of wave clear, but it's pretty even, all things said and done, I think.
If it goes on a poke, like where if Resurgence isn't able to cleanly engage on RFS and get kind of like a low health target to have to back out and fully back to in order to compete, if they're able to just kind of dance and throw out their spells on it, I actually feel like RFS has a chance to win these shrines, but just because they have Moonburn, they're going to have Falstead's Q, and they're also going to have Tassadar for the survivability, the wave clear, and the site. They have a lot of options to kind of just poke at them and steal, if you will, from Resurgence if they get any of them low. But overall, when it comes totally brawling, they lose the early game so hard that they're going to have a really hard time capitalizing. So I think it's going to come down to poke when it comes to the shrines in the early game.
Absolutely, I agree. I feel like the team who can get that slight advantage, then capitalize on it early, is going to be the one that snowballs here. I feel like either of these teams has the potential to snowball if left unchecked. So I think the big thing here is going to be, can Resurgent get those early game rotations? Can they get the early game picks? And then can they use it to get an advantage going to the late game? If they can get 10 before their opponents and take something with it, I don't think there's a coming back from that.
Yeah. No, very much so. And this map actually is one of the less snowbally maps for the most part, because it does allow you to soak lane safely while the map objective is happening, unlike some of the other maps. And you also can, because of the duration of time that it takes for the map objective to be taken, all 40 of them actually takes quite a while. It allows teams that are behind to split push and take objectives like, for instance, the Shrine's top, take bottom fort, bottom keep wall, things like that, in order to try and compensate for the disadvantage that they have. So I think that really is probably one of the most selling points for RFS's comp here, because like I said, I do think they are inferior in the early game. But on this map, because the map objective not only takes forever, but it's weak in the early game, it's not very good. That might be something, hopefully they can capitalize with their advantage, a global, their poke, and also having a soaking advantage. So
Absolutely. I think, seeing how much John Cena can do in these early games fights is going to be big if he can get a big jump and capitalize. As you said, the early game Punishers don't do too much, and I think RFS has an okay way of defending, just in terms of poke and shield. So, I think that, seeing how those shrine fights are going to go is going to be the big factor here, and seeing how the split soak could work. We'll see how Falstad does. I believe it will be Panda Man on that Falstad indeed. So I'm curious to see how this game is going to go. I do tend to favor Resurgence's draft coming out of this. I'm curious. I think this is the point to see how is Tehran going to do at a slightly higher level of play. Obviously not the absolute pro league, but I'm curious to see how Tehran is used post-patch, and what they can do with her. I think it's going to be really exciting.
No, I agree with you. We're going to definitely see the effect of the Tyrande nerf to these teams here. And it's going to really, it's going to be crucial to Resurgence's comp. They pretty much have put all their eggs in the basket of winning those team fights through a Diablo Tyrande, combo and just bursting that single target down. So,
absolutely. I guess we're going to start introducing these teams. On the left-hand side, in the blue trunks, it is going to be Resurgence with Shot on Tehran, Skullkid on Sonya, Rixie on Uther, Daihu on Diablo, and Killick on Jaina.
And on the red team, we have GS Needham on that Tassadar. Ethics is going to be, or Ethics is going to be, Ethics is going to be on the Malfurion here. Percival is going to be on the Murden. Sleepy Bear going to be on the Rainer. And on the top lane, we have Panda Man Zeus going to be on the Falstad. The level 1 obviously goes in favor of Resurgence here. On the left-hand side, they're going to be overly aggressive wherever they possibly can with the Diablo Tyrande. How well they get picks is going to be crucial to their comp, and keep in mind they do, with the cleanse changes, we might see Diablo Tyrande being a little bit weaker, actually obviously weaker than the last patch. It'll be interesting to see if we see cleanse picked up for a response for that from Malfurion here, from RFS.
Yeah, and RFS Gaming is playing this very safe to start this game. They do not want to get caught to start this, and the rotations coming in, clearing that mid wave. RFS Gaming is playing scared right now going into this, and I think rightly so. As we stated, anyone who gets caught here is going to die, so they're just going to play this incredibly passively. And their Resurgence Gaming is just going to rotate pretty standardly here, except they're not. They're slightly baiting this mid wave. Interesting here. GSD is going to focus head forward. He's going to be a little bit caught out of position here. There's the stun to follow up. A great E dimensional shift. Going to be dodging that stun there. good job from him to not get caught. But missing Soak in the mid lane already in this game, but Percival's going to be back down to catch that out.
And what actually happened during that time is Percival went top to try and gank on Sonya, but there wasn't really much kill potential at that time. Panda Man Zeus getting poked down pretty heavily here by the Sonya. She is an absolutely phenomenal solo laner if she gets to do her thing. Percival's going to get comboed really well timed, but it doesn't matter. Invulnerability frames on that E is all it takes, and he's going to walk away from the stun. First shrines are going to spawn. Falstad positioned conveniently in the top lane farthest way to get maximum amount of soak. And this is where I was talking about that XP advantage that RFS might be concentrating on with their comp. More worried about just poking down at the shrines, not fully committing to them, and using Falstad and their global in order to gain an advantage here.
Yeah, they're definitely losing the lane push battle so far. Their towers are getting a little bit lower on ammo, so it's going to be interesting to see here. But they're actually going to go in pretty aggressively. Sleepy Bear is going to get caught with a double stun falling up in the blizzard. He's going to go down instantly. Bit of a misplay there. Sleepy Bear face checking that bush. Definitely getting killed. It's that, and that is the power of the combo. Absolutely, yeah. You saw it right there.
And that was a double stun. Not only was it a double stun, watch the lack of hesitation from Killick. He very much, the minute Diablo combos, he's as aggressive as Tyrande. He W's right behind him, like as the charge is happening, which is something you don't see very often. Coming up from follow-up, you very much typically wait for the Tyrande stun to hit, just to maximize his damage output, and I really like that aggression from him, realizing what his comp can do, and just being hyper-aggressive to try and get a lead here. Smart decision-making, Falstad looking to soak, baiting it over the wall, Percival. Best decision there, bait it over the wall so that it gets the least amount of damage done. At most, they're going to be getting a front wall here while they're maintaining soak in all the other lanes. Like that decision making, it's only going to be a small lead here in favor of Resurgence. So RFS is getting to that late game at a roughly, like close to even scale. Daihu out of position here, beautiful route to catch him. Percival actually getting double stunned with the counter stun to try and survive, and Uther's actually going to fall in return. Really well turned there from RFS. Those roots turn that fight around. And Sleepy Bear getting over aggressive there. A little too much confidence in with those 2 kills that his team just got as they backed away. He ends up getting stunned and picked off, but
yes, indeed. Sleepy Bear, the bit of a solo Q star there. I think feeling a little bit confident after that play. Ethics is actually probably going to get caught out here as well. Yes, he's going to get stunned. And any advantage they just had from that exchange is now gone. Great follow-up plays coming out here from Resurgence to capitalize on that. A little bit of just a sloppy retreat here coming out from RFS. They had a little bit of an advantage, and then they promptly proceeded to give it away.
Yeah, honestly, both teams ran into a situation where they actually looked like they had the advantage, and the opponents turned it. It started with a poor engage from Resurgence with the Diablo Tyrande combo, and then ended up getting turned in favor of Resurgence, then them overextending for more kills, which led to losing that small advantage. It's now going to be slightly Resurgence having the level 7 tier advantage, ganking the Tassadar. Willy time his E properly. That was a little bit early. The root coming out to try and keep him alive, really well done there. Tash shields in the flip, the body block from the 4-man wall, and he's going to end up going down here. Shrine now spawning on mid. No Merc camps were taken at all during that time. Really interesting from both teams that neither of them decided to take a Merc. Merc camp there, they lost a lot of pressure, I feel like, overall, especially from RFS, just because their comp wants to rely on poking and getting siege advantage elsewhere rather than this early game brawling. So Resurgence is going to activate it knowing they have the aggressive early game, and they also have a talent tier advantage. Malfurion's still on bottom lane, going to be a little bit late to these rotations, so let's see how well they can get poked down.
Yes, indeed, and Resurgence is up half a level right now, so but Diablo's getting caught with a stun here. A little bit of damage went down. Roots to follow up, but that Blizzard in the back line doing lots of damage. Diablo's just going to walk out of there. A little bit of a poke back and forth. Daihu can take it there. There's the stun, the flip, but not quite connecting. Percival taking damage. Daihu taking a lot of damage. Percival going to drop as well. Skull Kid spinning in the back line, but so far trading 1-for-1. Ethics taking lots of damage, but Skull Kid's a little bit caught out. The Uther's healing coming in is just going to be enough, but Sleepy Bear is chasing, and the aggressive barrel roll there from Panda Man. And Killick's actually taking a decent amount of damage in the back line too. Overall, a 2-for-1 exchange. So, but Diablo's already back up, so they need to be careful here. There's Sleepy, again, aggressively, the positioning. The Root's going to actually catch Tyrande there. Sleepy taking lots of damage. Essex almost falling the back line, and Killick might fall. Yes, indeed. There we go. Rixie taking lots of damage as well. Uther, I think, is going to fall, and so far, I think that's a 5, potentially 6-for-1 trade here. going out after that exchange.
And RFS, I mean, standing out, winning the early game fights miraculously, honestly, just from poor positioning here. Honestly, it started with the Diablo, and then it was the trickle-in effect. Everybody trying to save their teammate, trying to bite off more than they can chew, and they ended up losing that fight, and now they're winning the race to 10 enough to ensure the fact that they win this Immortal here. Really well done on their part there. Overall, the most interesting thing so far in this game for me is Malfurion actually going with Enduring Growth at 7 rather than Cleanse. Even though he has Tassadar, so he's relying really heavily on Tassadar, I guess, to make sure he gets a shield out for the stun combo, because Rampant Growth will help, but it isn't going to be enough to really keep that target alive, and he's not taking Cleanse. So he's very much relying on Tassadar denying the burst, and then he's going to get the sustained team fights. So.
Absolutely, and the roots, again, connecting. These roots have been spot on, but yeah, interesting not to opt for Cleanse here. I think if there was a time to test out that new ability, it would be now. Actually, interesting to note that Uther did opt to go for it, so we'll see how it potentially could be used here, counteracting those roots and that stun. Potentially the late game stuns coming from Raynor as well, but that's going to be a pretty well capitalized for it. But watch, we're going to see if there's any can disengage, but no, the wall's just going to force that out. Level 10 also coming out here for the side of Resurgence, and pretty standard ultimates across the board. We're not going to see Raynor's Raiders again. It is going to be that Hyperion, and not opting for Raynor Frost, the pretty standard water elemental, and it is going to be Apocalypse coming out from the side of Resurgence.
I can say I'm really happy to see the APOC. I was worried about possibly getting a Lightning Breath in this type of situation. Like I said, I think it would definitely hurt them. Panda Zeus with absurdly aggressive rotations there, dropping the E over the wall, barely surviving, having the guts to save his life, but he underestimated, I guess, the positioning of his opponents. With him on bottom, didn't expect that they would take that camp, but he does survive. And ultimately, the Merc camps are almost dead even across the board. Right now, we see Diablo looking to cap the Merc camps, trying to get Knights to push towards the mid lane. Sonya's going to start this top camp. I really like this decision-making from Skull Kid, starting this camp up here. If the Shrine does end up spawning on bottom, he's going to get a lot of value out of this camp. It is actually the strongest camp of the game, so really good decision-making from him. Daihu getting force walled out a little bit, trying to scare him off the camp, but it's not going to work. And right now, the game just sits with a 75% of a level advantage, sitting in favor of RFS, which is interesting considering the comps. The early game composition that is definitely in favor of Resurgence, and they have lost it. I think as this game goes on, it might be a problem. Again, those invulnerability frames tilt me every time that I see them. Murden just going to be able to free leap out right after the combo, even if it's almost perfectly stunned or started. And here we go. The race to 13 is on. Again, Skull Kid capping this camp is forcing a bad rotation from Falstad. Keeping the global up there is the best decision from them, but that's going to lead to a free 10 little guys for the Immortal. Nice stun going on to the Tassadar there. He's going to eat right out. Murden is now forcing the fight. Keep in mind, this is a 4 versus 5.
Yes, indeed, and the roots going down. Percival's caught in an awkward spot. He has popped out to the wall. Trank also to try and keep them back, but this, you're right, this is a 4v5. Falstad is not here. Trank has been forced to be popped so far, and Shadowstalk was also popped during that. D-Shield is still available, but so far, I think that's the only ult up. Hyperion is still available, as well as Mighty Gust, so all in all, not actually a bad exchange there. Daihu's coming into the bot lane, though. Percival's trying to force him out. The stun following up on Jaina. Shot taking lots of damage to the back line, but here's the aggressive Tasker once again caught up, but there's the Gust. Great disengage there from Panda Man Zeus. Daihu's taking lots of damage. They are choosing to focus this Diablo. There's comes the D-Shield shot, though. A little bit caught out, and the roots not connecting. Percival, I think, they take lots of damage and go down, yes, indeed. And the stun falling up on Sleeping Bear in the back line. But the Arcane Punisher is actually going to go the way of Resurgence during that, so good job on them. They're just going to back, or RFS is just going to back out. Sleeping Bear's a little bit caught out here. I think he's probably going to go down as well. Yes, he is.
That was strange. Not how I thought that was going to play out at all. Not a single kill was able to be obtained by Resurgence, even with their hyper-aggressive comp. The D-Shield was a little poorly timed there on a target who was already trying to pull away from the team fight. They're going to kill that fort and actually walk away, realizing they aren't going to get much more from it here on Resurgence. But ultimately, even in the 4 vs 5, they burnt a lot of ultimates to make it happen, but they weren't able to get a kill. Tassadar being the target that the combo is going on to, being able to E away, and then Trank being popped to keep them up. The XP advantage is now going to go in favor of RFS. They are pushing on mid, realizing that the Immortal on bottom is not going to do too much. But
yeah, actually going the way of the XP going advantage, the way of Resurgence there. But yes, absolutely.
Oh, my bad. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. It's definitely interesting to see. I'm curious. I kind of expected them to do more with that Punisher, and RFS was playing that actually really safe, kind of fearing a bit more of a follow-up aggression, but Resurgence really didn't take a ton with that. I kind of expected them to try and capitalize on that a little more, knowing that they got a few kills. And Arcane Punishers obviously pushing into a, not necessarily the safest lane in the world, but those things are deadly.
It is only 11 minutes into the game. I can see why they didn't want to push with the objective. It was only going to get baited over the wall, and they were only going to get a front wall out of it. If it was a little bit later in the game, I think that it would have been smarter to try and force the fight with it. But overall, their team fights haven't been going exactly how they expected them to, just blowing one target up and walking away. So I think it makes them a little less prone to taking the straightforward, risky fight that would be underneath that keep there. So backing out, taking the smart play, not able to invade that night camp exactly. Meanwhile, the OP camp sitting on the top lane might be taken here by RFS. Looks like they're possibly going to rotate to get it here. Just a clear on mid. They do get spotted here from the Owl. It looks like Daihu's going to move for this invade.
I would expect for them to absolutely try and force a fight on this. We're going to see the Mighty Gust here, but no, they're off board. Actually going to drop the Apox going down here. Fighting on top of that Hyperion Skull Kid, spin to win there in the back line. Advix popping Trank, not going to go down. Percival taking lots of damage, but I definitely think that Divert won that exchange there. And but Rixie actually getting caught up. Great force wall from GS Needham. Rixie, is he going to go down? No, he's not. And the follow up in the E, I think actually Tastar possibly going to go down, but no, great job there from Needham to stay alive.
Yeah, no, that was really well done. Again, both teams actually, nobody able to kill somebody. Interesting approach to both of their team fights there. They haven't been able to really lock somebody down with the Diablo Tyrande combo, even though every one of them's almost hit. Keep in mind, other than Falstad and Tassadar, the ultimates are pretty long for RFS here, and so you might see another forced early engage here, especially with D-Shield up from the Sonya here for, beautiful stun going in on the Raynor. The Tassadar shield perfectly timed, able to keep him alive. Skull Kid with a beautiful flank though. D-Shield comes out. It was a little off timed, I think, here, but Ethics is going to walk away as well. Percival is slightly out of position, getting flipped, getting stunned. Nice fourth wall. Five-man stun from that Lunara. Oh, my.
They clustered just a lot, and the Blizzard coming down as well. I think Percival's going to drop as well. Daihu surviving on a scrap of HP. Sleep Bear, I think, is also going to go down, and I would expect to see Taskar fall as well. Yes, not being able to dodge that stun there. That five-man Tehran stun. I have not seen one of those in a very long time, but that definitely what secured them those kills there. That was an absolutely huge play, showing the power of Tehran there.
Yeah. No, Shot definitely played that almost perfectly. That was really well done. They're actually pushing on mid here. Really smart decision making, taking the maximum advantage that they can by getting a couple of picks there, then get a back out and look to get the rest of the shrines. But I agree, that five-man stun was phenomenal. The most important thing I think about that team fight was forcing the fight while they still had D-Shield up, abusing the fact that they have really long cooldowns to win team fights like Tranquility, like Avatar, and Hyperion. When those are down, as long as you only have Gust from your opponents, and the flank really was what was crucial about that fight from Skull Kid there. Really well done. And that allowed them to win that team fight. And it's just smart gameplay coming out from Resurgence here. I was really surprised that they knew what they needed to do to win that team fight, and they almost did it perfectly. Obviously, the God tier Tehran stun definitely made it a little more lopsided than it needed to be. Beautiful rotation aggressively here on bottom, trying to split push. Skull Kid's just trying to make something happen. Daihu hasn't been dismounted yet, but his team isn't going to be able to compete. The flight is going to be out. Oh, that is a Malfurion flip. Nobody's in range to actually get the stun, though.
And these teams are just going to back out here. Good job from Panda Man Zeus there to get out. Nice job from Daihu to try and close the gap there. This Arcane Punisher is going to be pushing in the mid lane, and I would expect to just see Resurgence pushing in the spot lane, trying to pressure this keep here. I'm not sure how much they're going to get. I imagine they'll get this gate and then just back out. There are a lot of camps on the map right now, so expect them to start asserting some Merc pressure and really start to take advantage here. RFS now has hit 16, so they are an even talent here. But interesting to note, Resurgence is actually going for the party bush. Let's see if RFS is ready for this. I'm expecting GS Needham is and there's a great job, good job popping that D, knowing that there might be a chance there that Resurgence is going to go for something. And interesting enough, RFS is going to try and fight here.
You're going to force wall him out? Yeah, really good force wall there.
But I'm only catching 2 tanks though, unfortunately, so not a lot they can really do there. Resurgence was able to cap that Mark camp as well though, so I guess a small victory for them. Now a full level ahead for Resurgence. But as we do go towards this late game, we do have the season marksman stacks coming out for both Falstad and Raynor. So they are going to start to hit a little bit harder now. So I'm curious to see what they're going to be able to do going into this late game. I think at this point, it's Resurgence is definitely in a bit of a lead here, both structurally and in XP. I feel like it's probably their game to lose at this point. So curious to see what they're going to make of this. They're doing a very good job painting the map blue. They've taken every Merc camp.
Yeah, they did a really good job there. They're making sure
they just playing catch up.
Yeah, they constantly are having to respond to them, which honestly isn't the end of the world. They're gonna lose the fort here on top, but ultimately with their type of composition, playing catch up is easier, mainly because they have a global than it is with other style compositions. Also, they just have really good wave clear. Whereas if this was the other way around. Resurgence would have a very, very, very difficult time dealing with wave clearing these minions, so it does set them slightly behind. It does give them a slight disadvantage. Really good use of Oracle there once again from the Tassadar, revealing after the Shadow Stalk and a beautiful Force Wall. Really good disengage there. It's probably going to give up this camp, but like I said, they have enough wave clear that they aren't too worried about it.
Yes, indeed. That was a very good job from GS Needham to sense that the enemy team was coming in there, and this camp is just going to do a little bit of pressure here. Both on an even talent tier right now, and will absolutely be on an even talent tier going into this next fight. So I feel like the winner of this next fight is basically going to be one of the big deciders in this game. Really interesting to note this positioning of Skullkid here, going looking for this flank. I don't think they've spotted him at Panda Man Zeus.
Beautiful.
Face checking this bush, but Skullkid actually just going to hop out. Daihu's coming in, follow up stun. Actually not going to be there. Tron not quite in position to get that off. Percival's going to pop Avatar, and here comes the Poke Wars. Rexy taking quite a bit of damage.
That APOC, that was huge.
And that's the fight.
That was absolutely beautiful timing from Daihu. He waited till everybody lined up, so they had to choose. They either run away from the team fight or they run into the team fight and die. And they actually all seemed to kind of body block each other a little bit and stood on top of it for a 4. It might have been a 5-man APOC. Really well done from him there, and the rest was honestly just clean up. And that's why, like I said, I feel like I'd really like to see the APOC coming out from them there, from Resurgence. Playing it absolutely perfectly there. Like you said, this is now their game to lose. They're on the race to 20. They're about to get this Immortal, or Punisher, sorry, pushing in their favor. And so waiting for 20 is what I would actually be doing here. Daihu should, there he goes, smart choice. So what they do here is they cap 39, and they don't cap the Immortal until they actually get level 20 advantage, so they can force elsewhere on the map. There you go. Shots looking to soak a lane. They're probably going to have Jaina go to mid to soak. They're soaking the top lane. They do not need to risk this. Daihu, he does cap it early there. I don't really think they needed to, but like they said, they're trying to wait until they can maximize level 20 there. Really smart play from Resurgence here. Probably the only team in the amateur tournament I've seen ever make as smart as play as that was. And now they're going to be looking to force this fight. They baited the stun already out with Sleepy Bear there, which is now going to mean that it's about a 10-second cooldown before the leap is going to happen once more. That means that's going to be a front wall on this keep 100%. And then once this goes down, it's going to be leaping, and they're going to hard engage with Daihu. It's going to be on the Sleepy Bear, and now he's going to die.
Absolutely no chance of him surviving there. Out of position again. This Arcane Punisher is absolutely doing work. There comes the APOC. The Ice Block not going to be enough. The Gust finally coming out though. Skullkid being a little bit aggressive, but there's the Great Divine Shield to keep him alive. Ethics Pop Trank in the back, but I don't think this. I think this will probably be game here. I heard a blink in there. Not quite sure what went off there. Panda Man Zeus taking lots of damage. Very aggressive here. This keep is absolutely going to fall. GS Needham at half health. This John Cena is still in a very good spot, catching 2 with that stun. He's gonna fall here. It's a 4v5. Falstad getting absolutely obliterated in the back line. No chance. 0 to 100. GG. This is gonna be the semifinal game. So it looks like we're gonna be seeing first-time players here, Resurgence, going into the finals. So congrats to them. It was very well executed draft, and I'm going to assume they're going to win this game. They're just going to keep looking.
Yeah, they've got it.
It's happening very slowly, but there we go. And that's GG. So great job from Resurgence there. They played those team fights in the late game very well, and I think just won this in the draft pretty handedly.
I would agree with you. I feel like their draft was definitely stronger than RFS's, but at the same time, I feel like they played it really smart, especially the very end there. I know it seems like it was a small mistake, but I very much feel like because Sleepy Bear actually didn't bait the leap over the wall, which then led to 100% of going to be a leap onto him after the front wall dies, being that aggressive there. I think that was actually the play that confirmed that game was going to end right on that spot. If he had been a little bit more passive there, he would have been able to get away with it. but I agree with you. I have Skype buttons of you open, and I don't know how to get rid of them. There we go. All right, but no, I agree with you. Also, I would just want to compliment Resurgence. They're the only team I've seen take legitimate top-level shot calling with that decision making, waiting for 20, making sure that they force the fight as hard as they can, and mix with Sleepy Bear baiting the first leap, not over the wall, and the second leap happening after the first wall happens, being directly on him is something that can't happen with that. But Resurgence. They played it almost perfectly. Those Diablo Tyrande combos were almost flawless. They hit a 5-man Lunar Flare, which is something I don't know if I've actually ever seen outside of maybe to follow up to a Gravel Bomb. They played phenomenally. So hats off to them. Even though their team fight didn't pay out too well in the early game like we thought it was gonna, they knew how to capitalize in the late game and they executed really well.
Interesting to note, Ethics wants to absolutely confirm how OP that Diablo skin is. Apparently, none of the members of the team actually saw that game-ending APOC at the top shrine.
Well,
yeah, because there you go.
The most
map awareness.
the most
Don't play on low settings, I guess. Apparently, people.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's much harder to see, which I guess I can kind of understand there with that one.
Yeah.
But that's not really an excuse. I thought it was kind of funny.
That was actually one of the arguments. That isn't the first skin that's come into question. Kerrigan's Countess skin? I don't know what it's called. The bat one, where you can become a bat. It was argued to be banned from tournaments because it was too difficult to see her range and how quickly she could leap onto you a very, very long time ago. And I don't know it was officially banned, but interesting. I've never actually used that Diablo skin. Maybe I got to go purchase it to up my my game there.
Yeah, seriously.
That APOC was huge.
APOC was monstrous.
It was
absolutely.
But
the team was just gone.
That's it. It was like 5 men by APOC. It was like, doesn't matter. The whole team's dead now, especially with their comp. Like, think about it. Sonya wailing on you, Jaina, just everything about it is just terrifying. So really well done.
Combo, absolutely destructive here. So it looks like it is going to be Gale Force Esports versus Resurgence in the finals of this, the Divergent Gaming Open here on January 22nd. I want to give a big shout out to everyone who's stuck with us through this tonight. We've had a few little technical difficulties, but thank you so much for sticking with us, everybody. I want to just give another big shout out to our sponsors, Red Rook, for helping us put this tournament together. Again, the winning team actually goes away with a $100 prize pool, which is massive, for these amateur tournaments. So absolutely. Shout outs to them. And if you guys want to get involved, be sure to check out Sostolo.com and our crowdfunding campaign. If you guys want to be a part of this and help us out, put some money towards making this a bigger tournament. And we've got some great stuff planned for you in the future. So absolutely stay tuned to that. Dread, where can people find you?
They can find me. My Twitch is Dreadnought_Heroes, and my Twitter, as you see down below, is at Tempo Dread. I just big shout out to all you guys tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Still working on the casting and upping my game there. So if you guys have any criticism, feel free to contact me at any of those things. I very much do like any form of criticism. So thank you guys for tuning in and making this tournament happen. And I think we're going to go to a small break before we get into the finals here. So we'll be setting everything up and we'll get back to you guys in just a couple of minutes. Again, thank you for tuning in and see you soon.